we're all gamers here. Relative levels of gamers, but we're all gamers here. We're different stages, different obsessions, different time put in, but we're all gamers here. We all play. We all have stuff to love. I'm glad E3 was canceled.
Yeah.
It deserves to be canceled because it serves no purpose anymore. It hasn't for years. And it's just,
basically, when Nintendo decided to do their own, that was pretty much the death note.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, it was the showcase of the year for the new games. The big companies came there. They would show off what they expected to be their biggest hits of the year, and we all stood there panting dogs, bated breath. I knew somebody who I used to run a forum with way back in the day. She used to work for a small gaming company, and she would be at E3, and she would feed me information of what's going on there. I would get live updates, like literally live updates on the forum, and she would tell me what's going on. And so that was cool back then. And for a time, I always wanted to go to E3 back when I was innocent and naive. I thought I want to go to E3. It'll be cool. I'll see all this stuff. And then years went on, and her live reporting got lamer and lamer, and the announcements got lamer and lamer. And then COVID happened, and it couldn't be a live event anymore, at least because of the restrictions. And all the gaming companies, the big ones, the big boys, realized, wait a minute, we can just put on our own little stream on our channels, and everybody's going to come watch, and we'll speak directly to the customer. We don't need to pay E3 a bunch of goddamn money to showcase our stuff, and we can showcase more than one or two things. We can do an hour-long presentation, hour and a half, 2 hours, and get a whole bunch of stuff in there and really get people excited. We don't need them. And that we've seen that the place, Sony has their own one, Microsoft has their own one, all the individual companies all have their own thing. And Grump, like you said, Nintendo, they were the first one to do it.
Yeah, when they dropped out, I think that was pretty much E3's death note. And not to mention, heck, anybody that actually cares about the Nintendo product loves the Nintendo Directs, because instead of that once a year now we're getting 3-4 major Directs with a couple of minis in between. So it's just way better for the customer.
Yeah, and you know what it allows, and that's, you give a perfect example. Nintendo people really just want to see Nintendo stuff.
Yep.
The diehard Nintendo, they just want to see Nintendo stuff. They don't care what Sony or Square Enix or Blizzard Activision, when they put something out, or any of these companies, or Microsoft. They don't care what they're putting out. They're there for their Nintendo. And if they just have a direct line to Nintendo, they're going to be happy. Now, I personally...
it goes with PlayStation too. PlayStation players that want to see what their exclusives are going to be. They don't want to see what Xbox and Nintendo's exclusive is going to be. Why they go show up for that shit?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I personally don't watch any of it. I just check out what the releases were and see if I'm getting a release date and the things I actually care about. I mean, like you said, Nintendo drops it. When I watched it happen in real time this week, I saw Nintendo cancel. I saw Sony cancel. Then Microsoft cancel. They all start canceling. I realized, wow, are they even going to have an E3? And then the next day, cancel. I mean, Jed, have you ever cared about E3?
I've never watched a single thing of E3 in my life, mainly because I didn't get into gaming until well past its prime. But it's a 20th century model, just like radio, just like cons almost to a certain extent. There are a lot of 20th century models that are fizzling out in the last decade or so as more advanced areas of the internet come up and take their place, like streaming replaced cable. It's just something that happens. And by way of the internet, these companies can all do their individual announcements, just like you've been talking about. So it's completely obsolete, and people don't want to go out necessarily to these events anymore as prevalently as they used to. And COVID, I think, was more so the nail in the coffin of E3 than anything else, because people realized that it was non-essential. And that was the thing that we found with a lot of COVID stuff, is a lot of the things that we thought we had to do, we broke the habit of doing it and found other ways of doing it. and found out that those were simpler, easier, and just more effective than anything else. And every company has been going away from the E3 model for some time now, even non-gaming stuff like DC. They've gone to DC fandoms instead of going to Comic-Con for their big announcements. San Diego Comic-Con used to be the big time that you get like massive trailers, massive announcements, Marvel, DC, and that's no longer the case. Even San Diego Comic-Con is going the way of E3 has done right now. So I think it's just a 20th century model that's dying, and we're just seeing it happen a little bit accelerated with this one because gamers, they're more remote than other types of fandoms in general.
Exactly.
So I don't care. Like, I never cared about E3, so it's just phasing out with something that's old and obsolete.
And like I said, for me, once upon a time, it was a thing. And then, but I watched it die its slow death. And you brought up a point. They go to watch these streams. And when you go to watch these streams, you can literally skip around. You don't even have to wait. When you go to the convention, again, that model, you have to wait. But if you're at the stream, you can come back. You can miss the whole damn thing and then come back and just drag along the timeline to the point where you want to see what you were waiting for. You don't. It's that thing. I mean, Dre, you're old enough to remember E3 when. It was
and I pretty much you covered everything that I was kind of thinking. I understand why Jed is not attached to this whatsoever, because I think if memory serves me right, the first E3 was 1995. If memory serves me correct.
Right there.
And even back then, you had to wait for EGM to come out for the issue to like see what happened at E3 or something.
Exactly, and like because we grew up in that time of Game Informer magazine and all the other stuff. So I had
to have what was Nintendo Power. That's what
Nintendo Power.
Out.
Yeah.
I had boxes.
I did too. I wish I'd have kept them.
Yeah. I had boxes. I was one of those guys. I had every one up to a point except the very first one. I subscribed to the second one, and I got a special pin when they had their golden Link to the Past special one. I got the pin. I love that thing. All right, go ahead, Trey.
Look, I see you lighting up like a Christmas tree. You think
memories? It's good memories.
But what Jed says is correct. Like, it is of a bygone era. We don't need E3. No. And let's just take the quality out of games just for a second. Let's just remove that, because does that play a factor? Of course. But ultimately, like all the points you made, if PlayStation wants their own showcase, they can just do it. Xbox wants their own showcase. They've done it a bazillion times. Nintendo has their own. Like there's literally no reason for E3 to exist anymore. And I was looking at some of the numbers. Like even like I think 2019, they still had 66,000 people that actually came. So that's nothing to, sneeze at. But, of course, COVID happened. But I think COVID just pretty much ripped the Band-Aid off of the stab wound that was there. And it just accelerated the death. Like the blood just kept pouring out because then we had 2021 and had the online one. The only reason we did is because they could not have their showcases at all. Yeah.
And that was the blinding light of what are we even going to this thing for anymore?
And that was it. That was the handwriting on the wall. I think 2021 was the handwriting on the wall, because then last year it was just straight up canceled. They didn't give a crap. They didn't give two squirts of piss. They were like, screw it. I'm like, okay, now,
fine.
This year, it's over. It's over. Right. It's over.
And I got some little basic numbers, just to run around in your head. The February Nintendo Direct had 5.5 million views. The most watched section, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, cut out 6.2 million.
And
people can now go back and watch just exactly which part of the Direct they want now.
And here's salt in the wound. I saw this while I was prepping for the show. They just announced a specific Tears of the Kingdom gameplay demonstration they're going to do.
Yeah, that's out 5.6 million views 5 days ago.
Oh, that was 5 days ago? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I love that video.
I'm out of touch. I'm sorry.
Boomer. But that just pushes the point
that
forward.
Game is going to sell systems.
Yeah.
It ain't just going to sell games.
Yeah.
Because the new Zelda system looked pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's also a business aspect of things to consider here, because it is expensive to travel out to the location of E3 to set up these events for people. And then with what you're talking about, millions and millions of views versus 60,000 people coming, weighing it out, I'm certain that the ad revenue off of 6 million views is far superior than 60,000 tickets to go in, especially weighed with the cost of making a simple live stream versus making these complex panels with travel setup and a massive amount of employees more than would be required to make a simple live stream.
And Dragon Lady,
that's where I was going to go next, because especially me watching Nintendo, he's literally half the time he's either standing in front of a white screen or sitting behind a desk with a white screen behind
They're
him.
so simple.
They're not costing a lot of money to do it, and they still look good and obviously really darn effective since that many people watch them.
I mean, Dragon Lady, as a gamer, that you have your specific taste, because we've talked about the games you play. You have very specific taste. I feel that for you, it's a lot more fun to, when they do these announcements and do these streams, you're able to zero in on what you want than at E3, where they might not talk about anything you would care about.
I have to admit, I'm more of a Nintendo person. I think there's a lot of franchises I like that are from the Nintendo bit, such as Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Mario, starting to get into Zelda.
Kirby. Don't forget for Kirby.
We can
I haven't played Kirby.
Yeah, we
yet.
definitely can.
We can pick a Kirby.
Well, Kirby does look quite cute.
Oh God, girls. But yeah, no, it's all right.
I have a weird definition of cute.
But you make my point, though. You just made what we're talking about. You can zero in on the specific thing you want, because you're not a widespread category gamer like some of us here. And you just want that.
It just depends on the game and how good it looks. And if it looks interesting enough, I might get it. If not, then I don't bother. I don't go, there's another fantasy game, I'll go and get that.
And there's another aspect of this that we have to understand in the current gaming sphere that we have. Independent gaming, independent developers, indie developers are huge right now. Some of the biggest successes in the past couple of years have come from indie developers. Indie developers never had a good seat at the E3 table. E3 was about the big companies. And now an indie developer can get more exposure by just doing their own streaming, and people are going to pick up on it. Whereas in the past, nobody knows going on at E3. All you go to E3, you get the big companies, you get the AAAs. So that indie is also changing because people are interested. Grump, you are always looking for indie stuff.
Yeah, I love me some indie games.
And so this era we live in, where you can find out what they're doing from them, and you don't, where E3 would never give you that. So to what Jed said, to what Dre said, outlived it's a model that doesn't work with what's going on today. Indie gaming and AAAs now able to be self-sufficient for marketing like this. Who needs it? Done.
Yeah, and even Nintendo, they have indie directs on Nintendo now, to where Nintendo is picking out large swaths of indie games to promote.
It's genius.
Because hey, they still make money off of their sales.
Yeah.
Why not?
Dermot Wormy for $5. The stream lets them show you what they want. In person, you get awkward moments. Case in point, do you have phones? That just went over my head. I don't remember that one. What is that?
Oh, the guy talking about some game that everybody wanted out on console, and he said, "You got phones, right?"
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I must have been paying attention.
Jay, can you find
Diablo?
that one? Because that one's worth showing.
Oh, is that about the Diablo mobile one that was a giant ripoff?
It had to be Diablo.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't play on a mobile phone.
I'm not gay.
Make a goddamn phone call. I want to play. I got a console here, and I got a PC here. That's where I do my gaming. I don't do my gaming on a phone. No, I'm not going to do that. That's why every time I see something that I think I'm going to enjoy, and then it says mobile on it, pass, out. Thank you, Dermy, for the $5. So yeah, E3 done, gone. Happy to see it gone. I tweeted out, good riddance. Good riddance. I don't want to hear from it. I don't care. And I'm ready for the era of direct interaction with the customer, which is something we here who support the Iron Age are very, very invested in. And that's the wave of the future. Direct dealings with your customer. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to reach out to me, please email me at therandnerd@gmail.com for all channel business purposes. I am on Twitter now, mostly for promotion and sharing of videos, maybe a little shit stirring here and there, who knows, at @therandnerd. You can also find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can see me on Rumble and Odyssey under the Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.